Hello, Ron.
Hello.
Welcome to Rotary Agency. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for being here with us. And first of all, I would like to ask you why you decided to come to Italy and settle down here.
Well, I've been fortunate enough to have very, very close friends and family in the Salerno area. And I've been coming here for about 30 years. And so a few years ago, I decided that I would like to try living here in Italy. My father was born in Sicily, so I am Italian. And I like to have different adventures in my life. I've lived in New York City, I've lived in California, and I thought living in Italy would be very interesting, so here I am.
So why did you decide to choose Salerno, specifically Salerno?
Salerno was an easy choice for me because these people that I'm very close to,
Friends.
yes, they happen to live very close by in Battipaglia, so and I'm very familiar with Salerno. Also, Salerno is a beautiful city. It's on the ocean. It's beautiful. It's on the Amalfi Coast. It is a great place to live. It's very easy to travel from Salerno, and it's very affordable. So it made it an easy place to choose to come to.
Ron, which were the main problems you faced when you decided to find a house here?
Finding a house in Italy and perhaps Salerno presents some different challenges than perhaps an American would expect. First of all, the rental market is very difficult here. And as a lot of people who are moving to a new country, I first want to rent before I buy something. And there's not very many places to rent in Salerno.
Yes.
In the United States, it's quite easy to find a place to rent. There are many buildings that are owned by one entity that have many different apartments, condominiums, and you can rent one of those. That's harder to find in Salerno. Also, the leases in Italy are much longer than in the United States. And I think that makes people perhaps less interested in renting to people here. And it was also a little daunting for people who wish to rent when they find out it's 3 years, or they can get a transitory lease.
Yeah.
And some people are not interested in that because they don't want to perhaps move. And for some people who are seeking citizenship, a transitory lease won't work. It certainly is a challenge. The housing market, the rental market here is challenging. I can't speak about the housing market, though I do have friends who have said it is easier to find a place to buy. There are certainly more available.
Yeah.
But then, of course, you're dealing with a language barrier. Even if you speak Italian quite well, reading contracts is difficult.
It's complicated, yeah.
And I will say, the reliance on professionals and agencies is different here than it is in the United States, especially I think for people renting. I left my name at more than 40 agencies when I was looking for a place 2 years ago, and I didn't hear from one. That was very surprising. In the United States, they would be much more responsive. That's why the Rocco agency, this agency was very different in how responsive they were, and that made a key difference in me helping me find a place this time.
Thank you very much. And so, how did you find us?
A very good friend of mine who is a professional in Salerno happened to know of this agency and know Andrea, the proprietor here, and he recommended me to Andrea, and also told me how great of a professional Andrea was, and that was very important. Certainly, we want to have a connection with the professionals that we use here, especially when you don't know the language well, you don't know the rules and laws quite as well as you might in your own country. So having somebody be recommended personally by a friend.
Are you satisfied with our help and with all the things we did to help you?
Absolutely, I've been very satisfied with the assistance that you've given me, that the Walker Agency has given me. It's been a very great comfort to know, to feel as though I could ask any questions that I want to ask. I'm quite a cautious person. I always have a lawyer review everything, even things that are very routine. I like to take my time with, and at no time did I feel hurried or pressured. And I feel like Andrea and you were someone that I could come to for counsel or advice, and that this wasn't just a transactional.
Yeah. That's very important for us.
Yes, because I have done with a couple of other agencies who were quite interested in trying to get me into the place they had available. And it did not leave me feeling very comfortable.
Yeah.
The experience I had with your agency was much different, and I would be very interested in working with you again.
I'm really glad to know that. And let me ask you about your flat. Are you happy over there?
Yes, I'm very happy in the flat. I've been living in for the last 2 years, an apartment I like very much, but it is a couple of neighborhoods away from the center in Salerno. For a person like myself, who I'm living alone, except for my cat, and I tend to stay in the central area quite a bit in places that I've moved. Living outside of the center was a bit of a challenge. I'm very happy to move back to the center. It's a nice one-bedroom apartment that I'm very happy with. It's brand new, and the owner seems like a very nice guy, and I was really, really very happy that Andrea could talk with the owner to actually change the contract to make the contract more amenable for me in order for some bureaucratic needs I had here in Salerno. And that was a big help.
So I guess you would, ask for our help again in the future in case you want to rent something else or buy something else.
I would indeed. I would indeed ask for your help again in the future if I wanted to rent something or buy something here in Salerno or in nearby areas. Maybe further afield than that. And I would also recommend you to friends here. I know several people who have moved from other countries, and they are living here in Salerno or the Salerno area, and they always have challenges with housing. The challenges that I faced are not unique with the housing market, the language barrier, the finding a responsive agency. And I would not hesitate to recommend the Walker Agency to them. And that's a big deal because I will see these people in the future, even after they work with your agency. So I wouldn't risk recommending them.
Of course. Ron, do you think that apart of the technical support, do you think it would be important to have someone on the other side who could help you also in a kind of human way? I mean, with empathy, understanding, and so on.
Absolutely, and that was one of the reasons that I was enthusiastic about continuing to work with Andrea after I met him and continuing to work with the agency. People who are moving to Salerno from other countries or in Italy from other countries face a lot of special challenges, with some I've already mentioned, different housing market, different culture, the language barrier. And for someone to have empathy for a person going through those difficulties, facing those challenges, and to understand, that's very important. Certainly the technical help is important, but feeling like the person, the professional that you're working with has your best interests at heart, even if they're representing the other side of the equation, even if they're representing the seller or the owner, feeling that they are also having your best interests in mind is important. And feeling as though they want to develop a relationship with you rather than just approach this as a one-off transaction. That's very important because frankly, a lot of us who are moving from other countries or staying here for an extended period, we don't have the support system that we do back in our home countries. And we are very attuned to when we can rely
On someone.
on someone and when we can't. And that was another aspect of this agency that made me feel comfortable and made me feel that I want to recommend it to people I know and work with this agency again.
Okay, thank you. So, thank you very much, Ron, for sharing your experience with us. And if just like Ron, you are looking for a house here in Italy, if you want to come settle down here, please call us and we are here to help you.